Hi everyone, today in this video we're gonna discuss what I can call that are like the most common errors that you can commit in order to have the bad relationships with friends, with family. So basically I'm gonna focus in what are like the fails that you can generate in your relationships and are like common to be generated that tends to determine the finish of these relationships with other ones. And I think it's video is useful because nowadays we have so much type of relations with other ones that we're gonna have to get the ability to manage the relationships that we have with them, and we rely in having relationships with other ones because we're really heavily depending of the other ones to see our satisfactions being met. To be happy, you need to have some type of human connection with other ones. To be successful, you have someone to give money for you the work that you give, and so you have to establish a relationship that remain constant. Whatever it is, you are someone that's working for other one, or you working directly as a owner for a client. You have to get the ability to make and have build relationships with other ones. So we have to get the ability and remain having relationships, creating and establishing him over the time. And so obviously I think so you should look for tips, tricks, habits that so you should adopt in order to get the these common mistakes not ruin your relationships. So, first of all, the lack of communication. The reality is that normally we tend to interact with other ones, absorbing what they give to us, absorbing all the small gestures, all the small type of hints that they give to us. And the reality is that this builds beliefs over time. All the type of learnings, all the type of beliefs that you got is like by reinforcing you start learning that, for example, doing something that is not acceptable in the social term. You can probably look for the social term and you say that you cannot be naked in the social, in public. And how you do it? By the common reinforcement that you see people always being not naked. All people always are with clothes. You see that the people that are not, they tends to get recriminated, they tends to even get jailed because it's something that you cannot do it. So you learn by reinforcement, you learn by what you get as stimulations. And the reality is that sometimes we get overloaded with things that are like suppositions that we got from the reality, and something that's really common between boyfriend and girlfriend, that this sense of this belief of not confidence with the other one, it grows and grows and grows because I don't talk with other ones and I'm putting clean plates and talk. So what's are like the things that I'm starting to don't like, things that I'm starting my brain to give so food for talks, that it's built over and over and over, and probably reach a time that exponentially it triggers all type of unprecedented consequence that it will not be wishful if already we have stopped this thinking, overthinking with our talks that we got, that we neither houses is something that happens in reality. And so what I think you should do it and how to do it, it's something that's not, if it happens, because it's not so easy to try to not this to happen. It's not because Netherhall is comfortable to share something bad and I'm starting to grow on me about the person with that same person and start discussing if it's something that's reliable. Because we have the other side, we have empathy, and we understand that this type of unconfidence that we have, it can so become something that if it's not true and the other understands that I'm not having so confidence towards him, he's not gonna get happy with me. And so what is really important is that you have to grow this skill and do what you're gonna do. You're gonna so try to avoid, and so you're gonna have to put active effort to start building this habit of being being frontal with other one, getting so what you understand, what you think. Neither always you have to say what you think. It's not something that has to be like black or white. No, sometimes gray, sometimes you don't do it, sometimes you other do it. And so be honest about your feelings instead of bottling them is really something that probably is not always comfortable, but is better in long term than in if you see for all the sum of history is better in in the long term than just the pleasure in short term that is not saying and not trying to shake so with the relationship. So be confident in having this communication with everyone, and obviously if you don't be uncomfortable, say and based so wide something that you're gonna say that's not comfortable to hear, when you think you start thinking about it, like build a logical reasoning around it. It's not just spitting it off and feeling awkward while you're saying it. No, say it with why you're feeling that. Say that it's not something that's making you hate the person, but based in that and that and that, saying so that you're feeling it, neither how you have control it about some person having some type of icks that I got like a ick towards it. And be logical. People have more empathy when they so come and understand that's not something that is coming like something that is bad, your bad side that's starting to grow up, is more something your normal side as a human that's got emotions, that's got these type of feelings towards the actions that people we see it. And so it's important to have this approach and humanize you, to not feel that you're just hating the person and saying that you don't like without so basing it or saying that you're as well not perfect. So make it in not see something that is a offense. Much more, it's like this. The relationships, a half of the problems will be solved if when you approach people with something that could create that friction, you make it more as not an offense, but just more something that I felt, and you start as well pointing good things, starting that you're saying because you don't want to accumulate in long term, and now you can avoid so time that you could waste being having a connection if it not make sense in the long term. And so being something that seems too good, so this approach being happening, other than just seeing that you want to spitting things that are bad about the people, which more so you put emphasis in the good things that comes with doing this type of uncomfortable short-term type of discussion, other than just accumulating, better, because it's like an action, it's like a habit, a behavior. You're gonna like more behavior which more pros is, you got to emphasize that this behavior have that the negatives, even if it's like in the reality, if you're just like fully logical reasoning, you will say that a behavior has not so much differential, because but if you emphasize, if you put more emphasis in the positives than in bad things, you can work it. You can frame the way that you can approach. That's why exist point of views. Point of views about the same thing, people perceive in different ways, people like other not. Build so the point of view of the other one have the ability. It's like it's needed to have this ability to deal with other ones. You need to have a bit of emotional intelligence. It's a skill that you have to build. Nowadays, I would say that emotional intelligence that includes the art of communication. And to have emotional intelligence, you already as well need the other skill, that is thinking critically. Reasoning is like the two main skills that you need to got. It's like something that you have to get it. You have to get it to get so and be a good performer in your life. And so have this ability to develop these skills. And one of the skills in emotional intelligence have the ability to communicate with and interact with others. And the reality is the majority of the problems they happen for this first mistake. Is like one of the most important ones, that if you are able to build this lack of communication, the ability that, and normally this comes so by the pleasure that gives to us a voice, some type of conversations, interaction with other ones, that could create attrition that I'm still trying to avoid. The reality is that this attrition is something that's bad. So how I make this not being something bad? So I have to work in pros of having this conversation. I will say that to make it better, I will try to create a better way to approach the person, saying that so I'm trying to figure out that I don't want to overload, and that's something that's good for both parts. You both don't want to waste time. You're not trying to offend. You're just saying what you're feeling. That's normal, and the other one as well as their feelings. So you're just sharing it, and so work on that. Think critically is as well something that creates you to build an approach that not seems to as an offense and so persons will interact with you and will respond less aggressively. That's something that normally we tend to start putting in a zone when you get figured out and when you interact with other ones. That's possibly so our interactions at great restrictions. And so this is something that's important. This video was more about thinking critically about the thing that's most important to fix relationships, and that it's a thing that you have to focus. In the next videos, I'm going to develop more tricks to have more ability to interact with other ones, to have most intelligent, and so to not have breaking of relationships with other ones and managing better. And so see you in the next one.